Welcome back to the Insight series. Today, I want us to take a collective breath and strip away all the intimidating jargon for a second. When you hear the word economics, what immediately comes to your mind? For most people, it's a flurry of intimidating terms like abstract graphs, complex statistics, discussions about inflation rates, and obscure interest rate formulas. It sounds dense, disconnected, and can be a bit boring. But here's the powerful truth, the core idea I want you to grasp today. Economics isn't really about numbers, it's about people. It's fundamentally about understanding why we, as individuals and as societies, do what we do when resources are limited and choices must inevitably be made. It's the study of human behavior under scarcity. Now, let me paint a real world picture to make this clearer. Cast your mind back to the early days of the pandemic. Remember the bizarre phenomenon of people panic buying toilet paper? Literally, mountains of it flying off the shelves. That surge in demand wasn't about logic or rational necessity. It was driven by pure emotion. It was fear transforming into immediate, sometimes irrational action. And that, right there, is economics in action. Demand surging far beyond supply, driven by perception and collective psychology, not by an actual increase in bathroom habits. In fact, every single economic model, every theory, every graph you see is ultimately a story about human behavior. So let's take the concept of supply and demand. What is it really? It's just a visual representation, a graph of how intensely people want something versus how much of that something actually exists. Or consider pricing. How do we arrive at a price for anything? Well, it's how we collectively assign a numerical value to goods and services, a value that's shaped by trust, by perceived urgency, by convenience, and sometimes, yes, even by clever marketing. So let's go a little deeper into another common economic term, inflation. Now, when you hear people say prices are going up, yeah, that's accurate. But what's also happening is that the purchasing power of your money is going down. So the same pound, dollar, or rupee that you use to buy a certain basket of goods and services now buys you less because the overall economy has shifted. These shifts can be caused by a multitude of factors, sometimes global events, sometimes by internal governmental and central bank policies, and sometimes by collective human psychology and expectations about the future. So, economics helps us to read these intricate patterns. It helps us understand the underlying human drivers, like why do people hoard essential goods during a crisis? Why are we so easily persuaded to overspend during sales, even when we don't need something? And why does scarcity instantly make something feel more valuable and desirable, even if its intrinsic worth hasn't changed? So, far from being a cold, purely mathematical science, economics is actually a warm blooded reflection of human nature, of how we feel, what we fear, where we place our hopes, and also how we respond to incentives and constraints. Even something as seemingly technical as opportunity cost, which is a fundamental economic principle, is at its heart deeply human. It's just a grown up academic way of reminding us that you simply can't say yes to everything. Every yes that you say to one choice is, by definition, a no to countless other possibilities. So, how do we make those difficult choices? How do we allocate our finite resources? which are our money, our time, our energy, in a way that aligns with our true priorities. Look, economics gives us frameworks to answer these questions. It forces us to think critically about trade offs and to consider the long term consequences of our immediate decisions. And here's something that might genuinely surprise you. At its very core, economics is profoundly intertwined with ethics. Yes, ethics. Every budget you create, whether personal, business, or governmental, is a moral document. It reflects the values. Every market decision, from what products are made to how labor is compensated, reflects a value system. Whether it's a government deciding how to allocate its national resources, a business choosing its supply chain, or even a teenager choosing between buying a new book or eating a burger with friends, there are trade offs. And those trade offs reveal priorities and what is valued. So, whether you're a student grappling with a new subject, a parent trying to manage household finances, a small business owner navigating market fluctuations, or just an individual trying to make sense of the complex world around you, understanding economics is truly about understanding people. And understanding people with their motivations, their biases, and their reactions helps you navigate life with significantly more clarity, empathy, and strategic foresight. In future episodes, we'll dive even deeper, exploring how the fascinating field of behavioral economics explains so many of your everyday decisions, why we procrastinate despite knowing better, why discounts seem to trick us, and why even the wealthiest individuals aren't always the most rational with their money. But for now, just sit with this thought. Every economic headline that you read, every market fluctuation, every financial decision is fundamentally a human story. And once you learn to read between those numbers, to see the human motivations and stories behind them, you'll stop feeling intimidated by the world of finance and economics and start feeling profoundly empowered.